Hi, everybody. I'm Rachel Chemness at Sound Waves Heal, and today I'm talking about Ascension. Thanks for coming. Okay, today's a little bit of a impromptu live. I've got such a good question today from Marnie in my comments on my YouTube channel, and I wanted to answer the questions. So her questions were a few questions about Ascension, and it's just so much easier for me to just answer them here on a live. So if you have questions about Ascension, I'd love to hear them in the comments. So her question, okay, so first she says, it's very confusing because a lot of people are talking about this, but everyone seems to have different opinions about what will happen. Okay, so first I just want to talk about that. Hi, on Facebook you have to let StreamYard see your face by clicking the link. But hi, everybody. Hi, Danielle. Hi, Renata. Okay, so she's asking about Ascension, and her first question is, why do so many people have so many different ideas of what Ascension is? And there is a really good reason for that. I'm not going to tell you that my answer is the right one because I don't know that it is. It's the right one for me. It's the right one for my timeline. And that's exactly it. There are a lot of timelines for Ascension, and you don't know which one you're on. You could be on one that does one thing and one that does another. What I do know is only from what I've channeled. So as you know, I'm a trance channel, and I channel all types of beings of the light, which are like angels, elemental fae, or maybe galactical beings. They have a lot of information for us. Ascended masters, things like that. And they tell me all kinds of things. And so if you've been following me or you're in my TAG group, then you know that we are always talking to these beings every month, meaning that I channel them for everyone in TAG, and I also put the masterclass on my YouTube channel. Hi, Lolita. So we are always getting this information. So since I trance so many beings, and TAG stands for Transformation and Ascension Group, I have a lot of these answers that I've tranced that I've been told. So that's what I'm going to go off of when I answer these questions. But I want to tell you that there's so many timelines. And that's one thing that they say, that your timeline might not be the same as someone else's. So what might be true for one person may not be true for you. So in that way, we shouldn't say, I have all the answers. And I definitely don't think I have all the answers. I get a lot of information from beings of the light, which, yes, I'm sure they're from the light. And so I know that what they're telling me is coming from a being that is of the light and not a trickster energy or anything like that. And so what they tell me, well, first of all, they tell me about the different timelines. Now, Marnie's next question is, she has a lot of questions. They're so good. So I just really want to answer them. I hope that she sees this. If you're here, thanks for the questions, Marnie. Okay, so some people say that humans will not eat food anymore and live on only love, light, and water. So this is close to what I see. I feel that, I feel that. What I mean is I'm feeling that from the beings that give me information, and there are a lot here right now. So what they mainly show me as a clairvoyant or in channels, they tell me is that that's exactly it. Are we leaving our bodies? Are we going to die and then ascend? And the truth is, everyone who dies ascends, because you ascend back into your original soul, you in your higher self, and that is an ascended self. So that's another one of our questions. Maybe I should read the whole thing. Okay. Some people say that humans will not eat food anymore and live on only love, light, and water. Others say that humans will live on something called a plant-based rainbow diet. Some say that humans who are alive right now that choose to ascend will not die, but will ascend with the body. And others say that everyone who is currently alive will die and ascend after death. And what is the earth going to look like? Lastly, when is all of this expected to happen? And as I'm sure you know, most people are not even aware that this is going on, and most people are not doing any work on their own evolution. Is it going to be a collective thing, or are people going to ascend one at a time? Okay, so what they show me is that we will stay in our body, but our bodies will change. So the body will become a higher dimensional quality. It will not be so dense. It will not be so 3D. And so in that way, we won't need food in the same way. Perhaps we will eat something from a plant. Perhaps we will use only sunlight. Perhaps we will live on source light. But that's more of what I see. I don't see anything about a plant-based rainbow diet or anything like that. I know a lot of people choose to eat that right now, and whatever works for you works for you. But what I see is that we become a higher dimensional being, just like angels are higher dimensional beings, or fairies are high dimensional beings. And you can sometimes see them when you raise your vibration high enough, or if your clairvoyance is open. So if your clairvoyance is open and you raise your vibration high enough, then you'll be able to see them either in your third eye, meaning like a projection of your mind and showing you where. Sometimes that's how mine works. Or perhaps you'll actually see them for a moment, or for a second, or for maybe you'll see their outline. Clairvoyance is very strange. So I see your question, Danielle. I'll get to it. So that is what I see, and that people who choose not to ascend will ascend through death. So anyone who dies, like I said, does go back to their original soul, higher self, and they're ascended there. And so some people have given themselves, it's not so much that they've come here and decided, I'm not going to ascend, or they fail. Some people give themselves a really very difficult life. They're testing themselves. They're saying, I'm going to see if I can figure this out, if I can figure out that I need to improve myself, to work on myself, that I need to figure out that love is the answer, that there are spirit guides everywhere, that angels are real, I don't know, whatever it is, all those things, I think. Then if I can figure that out, then I'll ascend. And maybe they'll put all these things in their path. Maybe there's horrible things that happen to them. Maybe they make it so hard for themselves that they don't succeed. But they did that to themselves because they really, really wanted to make it hard. Or perhaps there's some old karma that they're working out, and their karma leads them to not be able to get through all of their shadow work and their hard work. Perhaps they never even work on themselves, and so they won't get to ascension, but they'll still ascend when they go to the other side. For us, we're trying to ascend because we know about it, and we know that ascending is going through our shadow work, learning about living through love. Like, we understand this. That's why you're here watching me. That's what we're all doing, right? I mean, that is the way to ascension. And the video that she commented on was the Arcturian Masterclass from last month's TAG, which is up in YouTube right now. I put them up near the end of the month. And that's what they were saying, that's what ascension is. It's personal work. You have to do your own personal work. So she has a question about that. Is it going to be a collective thing, or are people going to ascend one at a time? It's going to be a collective thing. So if the majority of us can work really hard on ourselves. Now, of course, when I say do shadow work, I don't mean 24/7. And I did talk about that in the masterclass, or the beings I tranced did talk about that in the masterclass. But you are constantly improving yourself and working on yourself. Then the more of us that do that, the faster we will get to ascension. When is it going to happen? Most people agree it's going to be about 2032, but it's possible it could be as soon as 2026, 2028. That's possible if it comes to a point where there's more of us who are awake in this way and working on ourselves and working towards ascension than others. So that is definitely a possibility. So let's see, did I answer all the questions? And does anyone else have questions while I'm here? So Earth is also going to ascend. She asked, what will Earth look like? Now, I'm not really sure. What they show me is that the Earth will have a reset, and I see it to be more nature-based again. They show me that, so in higher dimensions, matter is more easily manipulated. So if you want to think about Jesus or other ascended masters who could manipulate energy, walk on water, or do these sort of things, where they were proving to us this concept that we know, that matter is not real, that we should be able to put our hand through the screen, or I should be able to go right through this chair, doesn't really compute in our brains because of what we believe or what we know or how dense we are. So more ascended masters who were on earth were able to manipulate this more. And as we come to a higher dimension, we will be able to do that too. So you want to change your space, it's no longer construction to add on to your house. You could just and what I see is that the whole world would be a reset back to a more nature-based planet, and that we can have a more aesthetic look to our buildings if we want, if we are going that way. I've seen that on other planets. So we could have this sort of where we build our matter any way that we want. That's usually what they show me, but perhaps it's going to be different, and perhaps some of us will choose to live differently, to live more off the land, or, I'm all for the tree house. I don't think my husband is. Is it wrong to eat meat now? I would say no. I do not believe that we need to be eating a plant-based diet. And I know that that is very controversial. That is my personal belief, because there's many reasons. One is that it doesn't agree with everyone. I've been all kinds of diets. I've been a raw vegan, I've been a vegan, been a vegetarian, and now I do eat meat, but I do not eat low quality meat. So I eat very high quality meat, meaning that the animals were treated fairly and were not fed GMO food or foods that aren't natural. So it's a more natural based diet, because I believe that we haven't evolved as far as we think we have from our ancestors. And that's how we grew our bodies and our brains for millions of years. And it seems to me that the real science on that is that it's very good for your brain and your body. So I still eat meat, and I don't eat very many vegetables. They don't agree with me. And I don't think that they're always that great, but I do think that many people do great on a plant-based diet, and that we're not all the same. Perhaps we are different types of star seeds, and some people do well on meat and some people do well as vegans. And I don't have any, personal preference for you all. You can all do whatever you want. I just have my own personal preference. And of course, I've been studying diets for 30 years pretty deeply. So that's also has a hand in what I think. And I'm very much a kind of person who likes to go on history and I have asked this question from light beings, and they have told me that it's fine. And because there's also a lot of problems with farming too. I mean, the only way you're going to eat anything that's not harming any kind of being is if you're growing your own food, and you know that you're only taking food from farms that are handpicked and not use any farm equipment. So there's a whole lot there. And I know it's not very popular, but anyway, that's what I think. But of course, I understand why many people are vegetarian and vegan, because I was too for a long time. And if it works for you, then I think it's great, whatever can. But I think that there's a lot of problems with the way that we get our food, no matter what kind of diet it is. And it's really important that we look at where our food comes from, especially because of the vibration of that food. So small farms, humane farms, and your vegetables, especially, like where are they coming from? Like what, are they organic? Were they sprayed? I'm really into the body as a vessel, and it's really important what you're putting into it. Eat real food, that sort of thing. I think it's really important. But what will we do in Ascension? That's a whole other question. So, I don't have all the answers. That's what the beings I've talked to have told me, especially about Ascension. And they've told all the things I've just said. I've talked to them about it, but they often just say, the answer is to work on yourself to get to Ascension, and that all the answers aren't the same. So there are many timelines, many timelines. So we talk a lot in TAG about taking the highest timeline. What's the highest timeline? The timeline that's going to be the best, like where things work out the very best for me, or that I get to Ascension faster, or that things are the best. That's a timeline we want to be on, because there is also a timeline that's 3D that's not wonderful. And that one is all the scary things you see on the news, like coming to fruition. And so we don't want to be on that one, We want to be on the one that is going going to be the very best for us, the one where we really work through our shadow work and things like that. So yeah, so I hope that answers the question, and I really did hope I didn't get off track too much with the meat question, but but that is a question people ask. I think that it's a personal decision, and as long as you are, you know where your food comes from and you're eating real food, I would say always stay away from fake foods. They aren't what we grew as human beings to eat. And I don't think we're at the part of Ascension yet where we can live off the air, especially since our air is so polluted. If you're in a very clean place, if there is such a place left on earth, then I think you can come to higher vibration and be a breatharian. I mean, I think it's totally possible. Live off sun and live off the air, clean air. And I know there are people that do it. I've always been fascinated by that. I think it's really cool. But I think if you're living in the modern world, that it's best just to, eat real things and eat things that have traditionally sustained us in one way or another, or whatever works for you that keeps you healthy. You know what I mean? I've tried so many things, so I know what is the healthiest for me. And so that's what I try to do. So whatever's healthiest for you. So if anyone else has another question, I'd love to answer it about Ascension, but I hope that helps. And I love questions. So anyone else ever have a question on my YouTube channel like this, I'd love to answer it for you. So I hope this helped, and I hope you all have a great day.